Hello everyone, welcome to the section 5 of the Appmint tutorial series. In this section, we are going to be exploring how we can optimize our graphics for web and social media use. So the purpose of this section is to tell you the best practices for exporting and optimizing images for different platforms. For instance, we might have different users using the Appmint Creative Studio, whereby the purpose of using the Creative Studio might be for different reasons. So let's say we have 4 different users. User 1 might want to use the Creative Studio to post a graphic element that was created in Creative Studio and post it on Instagram. User B might want to use it for his or our website. User C might want to use it for Facebook, and user D might want to use it for another entire platform. So in this particular section, we are going to be showing you how you can optimize the designs from Creative Studio to use for either web or social media use. Without much further ado, let's get started. So the first part that we're going to take a look at is choosing the right format for your graphics. So I'm just going to go to the Creative Studio and come up with a design for us to use for this section. All right, so this is a quick graphics that I just came up with for our practical section for this section 5. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is choosing the right format for your graphics element that was created in the Creative Studio. So the first one is that when you are done creating the graphics that you are working on, so then you are going to see the options of saving your designs in different formats. So in this case, I'm going to show you where you can, just like we did in the previous example. So I have different ways I can save it. So when you click here, you have the options of saving your design as an SVG file. You also have the option of saving it as PNG, and you are, as well as have the option of saving it in JPG. So I'm going to be explaining each options, and so that you can be able to decide which the best one that is for you. So SVG stands for Scalable Vector Designs, and if you want to save your design, this is actually best used for something like icon. So let's say you want to create a logo for your website or for your product. So using saving a file, you can actually design an icon inside Appmint Studio and then save your designs and export it as SVG. So scalable vector graphics makes it easier for the graphics that you export to maintain its aspect ratio, no matter how much the user resize their skin. So, and then the second option that we're going to talk about is the PNG. So PNG is actually a format that is best for images with transparency. So let's say, so this part for instance, this particular places that you are seeing here are transparency. So if you want to export your image and you want it to have a transparency, so using PNG is actually the right format. Then the last one is the JPG. So JPG is actually good for photos and web graphics. So for instance, this particular design that I'm working on, so if I want to use it on maybe social media or some a web graphics, then it's best that I save it as JPG. So in this case, I'm just going to save this as PNG. And then when I'm done saving as PNG, so I'm going to click on this download PNG, and then I'll have the picture saved. So you can see it's showing an error. Name must be at least 3 characters, and that's because I did not rename my file. So I'm going to rename it and save it as so let me say HOG Cakes Flyer. And then when I'm done with naming it and I click on download, then I'll have the file download. So now I have the picture downloaded. So that's the first option that we are going to talk about, is choosing the right format. Then the next part that we're going to talk about is optimizing for performance. So even though you've already tried your best and put in your effort to design your element in Creative Studio, you've tried to reduce the size, then there is also ways that you can actually compress your images. For instance, so let's say this particular image that I uploaded at this moment is 222 kilobytes, which is of course, which is still a little bit which is still quite good. It's not something of a large size, but if you happen to download an image that is going to maybe 700 kilobyte or 1 megabyte or above, so that means you need to do another task of resizing and compressing the images, so that by the time you have these images on your website, it's not going to make your website too slow. So there are different tools that you can actually use to compress your images. So one of the tools that I am actually fond of is a tool called Pick Adjust. pick adjust dot app. So the reason why I like this app is actually that it's quite straightforward. So once you get to the app, all you have to do is to upload the image that you want to use. So in this case, I'm just going to click on the image and then select the image that I just uploaded, which you can see it as from here. So then it's going to show me the present size, which is the 222 kilobytes, and then the new size is going to be 46.54. And you can as well either increase the quality or reduce the size, which is using the scale. You can reduce the size as well. You can also change the width and the height, and when you are done, it's also going to show you the new file. So when I click on download the resized image, so now I have something one for 148 kilobyte, which actually makes it a bit small. So that's optimizing for performance. Then the second one is called lazy loading for web asset. So if you are building a website, so there's something called lazy loading in the website optimization. So lazy loading is actually a technique that defers the loading of resources, just like images, JavaScript, or other assets until they're actually needed, improving page load time and user experience by reducing the initial page weight and bandwidth usage. So now let me explain what it is. So let's say I'm visiting a website now, and that website has like 20 images. So if the website is not optimized and the website is loading all of those 20 images, that means it's going to take time before the page is actually shown. But if lazy loading is used on the website to optimize the performance, so that means the image that is showing on my screen, so let's say there are two images. This is my viewport, and there are two images that is showing on my viewport. That means it's not going to load all the 20 images. The website is going to load the first two images, and then as I scroll down, it's going to start loading the rest of the page, thereby making the web page to load faster. So if you are building a website, you can also make use of the lazy loading to optimize your website for performance. So then the last part that we are going to talk about when it comes to the best practice for exporting and optimizing images for different platforms. So the last part that we're going to talk about is the platform specific requirement. So every platform that you are going to use actually has their image requirement. For instance, if you want to design graphics, maybe a flyer or a particular graphics for Instagram, which is the popular Instagram social media. So the correct size that you need to use is the 1080 by 1080 pixels, which is in the square format. That's if you want to post, if you want to use the Instagram post. So in this case, you can easily go to the Appmint screen. So you see this part whereby we've talked about before. So all you have to do is to increase this to a square format. So I can have 1080 here, and then also increase this to 1080 here. So you can play around with this format that is here to increase the size of your design. So it's best for you to use this square format if you want to post on Instagram. So, and if you want to use on Facebook ads, let's say you want to advertise your product on Facebook and you want to use Facebook ads, then the size that you should use is 1200 by 628 pixels. So that is, the width is going to be longer than the height of the design. And if you are planning to use the design in your website, so let's say your website image, then the size should be 1920, that is 1920 by 1080 pixels, which whereby the width is going to be 1920 and the height is going to be 1080 pixels. So it's always recommended to check the platform that you want to use your design, then find out the specific requirement, and then use Appmint pixel adjustment here to adjust the size so that you can fit in. So now that's for the section 5. This is the recap and key takeaways of the Appmint tutorial series for this module for the Creative Studio. So in this module, we have take a look at the Creative Studio, which enables you to do graphic design and photo editing with content creation. We've also take a look at how you can adjust colors and optimize layout for your designs. We've also take a look at the pre-built asset that enables you to come up with quick and professional design, whereby we are able to use the stock images from the library. We're also able to see shapes, icons, and all the other assets that we can use in the design. Also, we talked about the DAM, which is the digital asset management that allow efficient asset organization, especially for large-scale projects, whereby you can share files for team collaboration. Finally, we talked about proper export settings within Appmint, which allows you to improve performance for your designs across web and social media platform. Now, this is the activity for you as a learner. So the activity is to create a complete marketing graphics whereby you are going to make use of the image editing within the Creative Studio and use the previewed template. Then finally use proper export settings for web and social media use. And that's going to be all for this section. See you in the next section.